A cargo ship arrives at a U.S. port. 20,000 tons of containers, each one holding someone's order, someone's inventory, someone's deadline. But the ship docking, that's just the start. What happens next is a choreographed system most people never see. And when it breaks, everything slows down. Ships don't dock the moment they arrive. They wait, offshore in designated anchorage areas. Why? Berths are limited. A port assigns berths based on ship size, cargo type, and which terminal can handle the load. The harbor master coordinates. The terminal confirms readiness. The shipping line waits for the call. When a berth opens, a harbor pilot boards the ship and guides it in. Navigation in tight port waters requires local expertise. The pilot knows the currents, the depths, the turning radius. Once the ship is secured to the berth, the next phase begins. Massive cranes, called ship-to-shore cranes, start lifting containers off the vessel. Each one can weigh up to 30 tons loaded. The cranes don't work randomly. They follow a bay plan, a loading map created before the ship even left its origin port. The plan dictates which containers come off first. Containers don't go directly to trucks waiting at the gate. Most go to the yard first, a temporary holding area where they'll wait for customs, clearance, and pickup. For a large container ship carrying 10,000 or more containers, discharge can take a full day or longer. It's a rhythm. Crane, truck, stack. Repeat. The yard is where things get complicated. Thousands of containers, stacked 4, 5, sometimes 6 high. Each one has a destination, a priority, a customer waiting. The challenge? Finding and retrieving the right container when it's time for pickup. Containers are stacked by destination, by shipping line, by type. But when the one you need is 3 layers down, you have to move the others first. This is called a rehandle. And every rehandle adds time, labor, and cost. Ports use terminal operating systems, software that tracks every container's exact location, where it is, when it arrived, when it's scheduled to leave. Without this system, the yard would be chaos. This is called a rehandle, and every rehandle adds time, labor, and cost. Ports use terminal operating systems, software that tracks every container's exact location, where it is, when it arrived, when it's scheduled to leave. Without this system, the yard would be chaos. Before a container can leave the port, it has to clear customs. Importers file something called an ISF, Importer Security Filing, before the ship even arrives. It's also known as the 10+2 rule. 10 data elements from the importer, 2 from the carrier. This data flows into ACE, the Automated Commercial Environment, where U.S. Customs and Border Protection reviews it. Most containers clear automatically if the paperwork is correct, but some get flagged. An exam is required, a documentation error, a security concern. When a container is held, it can't leave the port until the issue is resolved. And every day it sits, the clock is ticking. Once a container clears customs, it's ready for pickup. This is called gate out. A truck, technically a drayage truck, arrives to collect it. But the truck needs something first. A chassis. A chassis is the wheeled frame the container sits on. Without one, the container can't move. Chassis shortages are a real problem. When there aren't enough available, trucks wait, or they leave empty and come back later. Terminals use appointment systems to manage truck flow. Drivers book a time slot, show up, and if everything goes smoothly, they're in and out in under an hour. But if they're late, or if the container isn't ready, delays compound. Fees apply. Demurrage if the container sits at the terminal too long. Detention if the chassis is held too long outside the port. These fees are designed to incentivize quick movement. But when delays aren't the shipper's fault, they become a point of friction. Once the container leaves the port, it takes one of 2 paths. Path 1, truck. The drayage truck hauls the container directly to a warehouse, distribution center, or transload facility. Fast. flexible, but expensive, especially for long distances. Path 2. Rail. The container goes to an on-dock rail facility, a rail terminal right at the port, and gets loaded onto a train. At major ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach, there's infrastructure for this. The Alameda Corridor, for example, is a dedicated freight rail line connecting the ports to inland rail yards. From there, the container rides the rails to an inland ramp, sometimes hundreds of miles away, where it's transferred to a truck for the final leg to the warehouse. Rail is slower, but it's cheaper for long hauls. The trade-off is speed versus cost. Shippers choose based on destination, urgency, and budget. The container arrives at the warehouse. But it doesn't just roll in. Warehouses run appointment systems too. Trucks book dock time. Arriving early or late can mean waiting. Once docked, the container is opened. The goods inside, called divanning the container, are unloaded and scanned into the warehouse management system. Each scan creates a data point. Visibility. The shipper knows the goods arrived. The customer knows it's one step closer. From here, the goods either cross-dock, transferred immediately to an outbound truck for the next leg, or go into storage waiting for the next order. This is the final handoff. Container to warehouse, data to system, goods to customer. So where do things break down? Customs holds. A flag container can sit for days waiting for an exam or documentation fix. Chassis shortages. No chassis means no pickup. Yard congestion. When rehandles pile up, retrieval slows. Labor constraints. Fewer crane operators, fewer gate clerks, slower throughput. Rail capacity. Inland rail ramps can bottleneck during peak seasons. Documentation errors. A missing form. A wrong code. A mismatched name. Small mistakes, big delays. These aren't rare edge cases. They're the friction points in the system. Here's the full journey. A ship arrives and waits for a berth. Containers are discharged and stacked in the yard. Customs reviews the data and clears or holds each one. Trucks pick up containers at the gate using chassis and appointments. The container travels inland either by truck or rail. And finally, it reaches a warehouse where the goods are unloaded, scanned, and sorted. If you're an importer, a logistics manager, or part of a supply chain team, here's your checklist. 1. File ISF accurately before arrival. 2. Pre-arrange chassis and gate appointments. 3. Choose truck versus rail based on distance, urgency, cost. 4. Coordinate warehouse appointments to avoid detention. 5. Monitor scan events for real-time visibility. This is the hidden system behind every import. Quiet, coordinated, and absolutely critical. Thanks for watching.